Hello, my name's Lorraine and I'm the author of the Aspley collection Book 1. I'd love to introduce to you some of the special abbreviations which are going to be featured in this book, which I hope you'll really enjoy doing as much as I did. And Gemma is going to walk round very slowly and we will start recording some of these special abbreviations for you. Right, in front of me I have one of the designs which was featured in the stable shoot. This is the Corndolly sweater, and what I've done with this design is I wanted to construct it to enable the knitters to be able to adjust this pattern or this design at any point in time to cater for those little ones that have their sudden growth spurts. Now, the secret of this design is the cord. As you can see, the cords have been applied here, along the armholes and along the wrists. Using the cord technique allows us to pick up stitches from one end of the cord and work up towards the shoulders. Therefore, you will have a cast off edge on the shoulders, but also we return to the cord and to the waistband. We can pick up stitches along this side and then work downwards. That way you have a cast off edge at the bottom where you can adjust if you need to, and we have a cast off edge at the top and we can adjust upwards. Sleeves, because we have such a neat edge along here, we can actually detach the sleeves if necessary, if you want a tunic variation, and this is why we've got a frill here. And also on the cuff, if we want to increase the sleeve length, we do actually have a cast off edge here and you can adjust accordingly. What I'm going to do is show you how to do the wrap abbreviations, which are used for making the cords here, here and along the wrists. And this is what we're going to do. I'm going to show you how to do the wrap 3-4 abbreviation. This is written in the Aspley collection Book 1 as WRAP 3, then open brackets, 4, close brackets. The number after the word wrap represents the number of stitches you are working with, and the number inside the brackets represents the number of times you are wrapping the yarn around the stitches. And this is how you carry out the abbreviation. In front of me I have casted on 5 stitches. The 2 end stitches you don't need to worry about, you knit them. But these are the 3 stitches where you carry out the wrap 3-4 abbreviation, and this is what you do. Again, you knit the first stitch. Then you transfer the next 3 stitches onto your right needle from your left needle. Then yarn forward, then move the same 3 stitches back onto your left needle, then yarn back. This, you have just carried out one wrap, and in this abbreviation you need to carry the same procedure out 4 times. So you've done it once already and now you just do it another 3 times. So you transfer these 3 stitches onto your right needle, yarn forward, transfer the same 3 stitches back onto your left needle, yarn back. You just need to do it 2 more times now. Once you've done your last yarn back, you then transfer these 3 stitches back onto your right needle, and then you knit to the end. This is how you do your wrap 3-4 abbreviation. Now, you'll see a number of wrap abbreviations in this book. You might see a wrap abbreviation which says wrap 1-3, or you might see a wrap abbreviation that says wrap 4-5. 4 represents the number of stitches you are working with, and 5 represents the number of times you're wrapping the yarn around these stitches. And that's the only difference. The technique is exactly the same. And that completes the wrap 3-4 abbreviation. I'm now going to demonstrate to you a very simple abbreviation called El2k. It's very similar to a knit stitch, and it's perfect for you beginner knitters out there that want to try and do something a little bit extra with your knit stitches. And the fabric grows really quickly. Now, take your right needle and working from front to back, insert your right needle into the stitch, take your yarn and wrap the yarn around your needle twice. Draw the yarn through and lift off. Now, the number 2 represented in this abbreviation represents the number of times you are wrapping the yarn around your needle. So, in the book, if you come across a special abbreviation that says El3k, you are wrapping the yarn around your needle 3 times before you knit the stitch. You might get an abbreviation that says El4k, so when you get that, you're wrapping the yarn around your needle 4 times, and that's how the abbreviation works. So I'll show you again how to do the El2k abbreviation. Working from front to back, insert your right needle into the stitch as if you're going to knit the stitch. Take your yarn and wrap your yarn around your right needle twice. 1, 2, draw the yarn through and lift off. Now you'll notice there's 2 loops on your needle as you're working this abbreviation, and you drop the excess loops when you do your next row. So I'll just work to the end of this row and then I'll show you what happens. Now, as we turn the work around to start doing the next row, I'm just going to knit across so you can see what happens to the stitch. So again, working from front to back, I'm just going to knit the stitch, but I'm going to drop the excess loops, and what happens, that generates a very long stitch, and that is called an elongated stitch. I'll do it again with this one, and I'll work to the end of the row. I'll repeat the El2k abbreviation for you. Working from front to back, insert your right needle, wrap the yarn around the needle twice, draw through, lift off. That is your El2k abbreviation. I'm now going to demonstrate to you El2p abbreviation. It's very similar to El2k. You're doing exactly the same thing, and the only difference is that you're purling the stitch. So here goes. This time you're working from back to front. So you insert your right needle into the stitch you're about to purl. You take your yarn, wrap your yarn around your right needle twice, draw it through and lift off. And again, insert your needle into the stitch you're about to purl, wrap the yarn around the needle twice, draw it through and lift off. Again, you'll see there's excess loops in this stitch. This is classed as one stitch, don't get confused, it's classed as one stitch. I'll just work to the end of the row. Again, right needle, back to front, wrap the yarn around the needle twice, draw it through, lift off. And this is how you do the El2p abbreviation. As mentioned when I was doing the El2k abbreviation, there are variations to this. You may find written in the Aspley collection book 1 the term El3p or the term El4p. This is exactly the same process, the only difference is the number of times you're wrapping the yarn around the needle. So for example, with El3p, instead of wrapping the yarn around your right needle twice, like you did with El2p, you're wrapping it around your needle 3 times. So I'll give you an example, but I'll do this row so you can see again how the stitch is generated into a long stitch. You knit it, just lift off, and you can see you've got a long stitch here. Can you see I'm dropping the excess loops off the needle? And that's all it is. Okay, if we turn round, I'll quickly demonstrate to you El2p. Working from back to front, insert your right needle into the stitch you're about to purl, and this time wrap the yarn around your needle 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Draw through. You'll notice 1, 2, 3 that you have more loops to drop off when you do the next row. And again, do bear in mind that this is actually one stitch and you're dropping the excess loops when you do the next row. It's a fun stitch and the fabric grows really quickly. And that's how you do your El2p. To show you how to do the Corndolly stitch. This stitch is featured in the stable shoot part of the Aspley collection book 1. This is the Corndolly sweater and this is the Corndolly stitch down here. It's a fun stitch to do and it's very effective. You'll see it in the Corndolly waistcoat, the Corndolly cardigan and the Corndolly scarf. And I'm going to show you how to do this stitch. Just move this to one side. Now the Corndolly stitch is worked in 6 rows. The very first row you are carrying out the abbreviation El2p. As mentioned in my YouTube videos for carrying out El2p, this is basically you're purling the stitch but you're wrapping the yarn around the needle 4 times. And you do this all the way across the row. So again, working from back to front, insert your right needle and carry out the El2p abbreviations all the way across the row as follows. Wrap the yarn around the needle 4 times, draw through, lift off. 1, 2, 3, 4 and off. You're just purling the stitch and all you're doing really is just wrapping the yarn around the needle 4 times and then lifting off. And again you have excess loops and you lose those excess loops when you do your next row. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the way across the row. The Corndolly stitch is involving 9 stitches. Right, the next row you are dropping the excess loops and you do something quite interesting here. This is where the wrap abbreviations come into place, and the wrap abbreviation which we're going to use in this row is wrap 9, 7. The 9 represents the number of stitches you are using in this abbreviation and the number 7 represents the number of times you are wrapping around these 9 stitches, and this is how you do it. The 2 end stitches are your edge stitches in your pattern, and then the centre 9 stitches are the 9 stitches you are working with to produce the Corndolly stitch. And here goes. This is row 2 of the Corndolly stitch pattern. I'm going to knit the first stitch as normal, and watch, I'm dropping the excess loops. Then you take your right needle and you slip the next 9 stitches onto your right needle, and this will drop the excess loops from the previous row, and this is how you do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then you take your yarn and you bring the yarn forward, take your left needle, slip these stitches onto your left needle, and then yarn back like you're doing a normal wrap abbreviation. And you wrap around these 9 stitches 7 times. So after you've done each yarn back, that represents one wrap. So yarn forward, yarn back. Again, you can use the cable needle here, but I find you're more consistent with your tension if you do it to this method. So it's like gathering up your hay bale. Just count 1, 2, 3, 4. I've done 5, 6, 7. Once you've done your last yarn back, you transfer these 9 stitches back onto your right needle. Then you'd knit the end stitch. Yes, you will notice there's a strand of yarn, but that's part of the stitch design, so don't worry about that. That completes row 2 of the Corndolly stitch. We are now going to do row 3. Row 3 is simply purling to the end. Now we move to row 4 of the Corndolly stitch. Again, you knit the first stitch. Now your centre 9 stitches are divisible by 3, so you've got 3 pairs of 3 stitches. And I'm going to be doing something which is like a corn stitch, and we are working everything into the centre stitch of each set of 3 stitches. And this is what I do. I'm going to do an abbreviation called drag 1R first of all. So you take your right needle and you insert your needle into one row below. So if I just widen this out here, into one row below the centre stitch. Then you wrap the yarn around your needle, draw it through to create a loop, and then you hook it onto your left needle, and then you knit 2 stitches together, this loop and this stitch. Then you knit the next stitch out of the 3 stitches, the centre stitch. Then you are going to do what is called drag 1RL. You take this needle and the hole here where you've done your last drag, move it in, wrap the yarn around the needle, draw the loop out, take your left needle and scoop that loop, and then you knit 2 together, TBL, that loop and the next stitch. And this is called corn stitch, and as you can see, if Jenna homes in, you're creating a corn stitch effect. You move to your next set of 3 stitches, and I'll repeat the process. You're going to do drag 1R, take your needle, insert into the centre stitch 1 row down, create your loop, hook the loop onto your left needle, knit 2 together TBL, knit the second stitch normally, and then do drag 1L, scoop that loop, and then knit 2 together TBL. I'll repeat with these last 3 stitches. Knit the middle stitch, and then back into the same hole, scoop up, transfer onto your left needle, and then knit 2 together TBL. Right, we are now turning, and we are now going to do row 5, but if you can look, we are now getting a little bit of a corn effect here. So let's turn. And we'll do row 5, which is simply purling to the end. complete. This is the last row of the Corndolly stitch. We're going to repeat what we did before with the corn stitches. So again, knit the very first stitch and then we work with the centre 9 stitches. So drag 1R, insert your needle into the middle stitch of the 3, 1 row down, yarn round needle, scoop through, hook onto your left needle and then knit 2 together TBL, the hooked loop and the stitch next to it. Knit the next stitch normally and then do your drag 1L by taking your right needle, going back into the same hole, scoop the loop up, transfer onto your left needle and again knit 2 together, the loop you've dragged up and the next stitch. There you go. Move to your next set of 3 and continue the process across the row. And just knit the last stitch at the very end. And that's your Corndolly stitch. And as you can see how the corn is developed here. And that completes the Corndolly stitch pattern. I'd really like to thank everybody at the Moore Place Hotel who have allowed me to use this room to carry out these YouTube videos. We really appreciate it. And I hope all you knitters out there have enjoyed watching the demonstration of these special abbreviations and I hope you have found them useful. And do pop back to the site anytime. There's going to be more YouTube videos being put onto the site to do with this book. And so it's a big thank you to everybody and I hope you enjoy the book. Thank you. I'd love to thank everybody at the Moore Place Hotel to let us use these